The ICE Futures canola market is stronger Friday morning, recovering from overnight losses as the market is seeing some consolidation after climbing higher for most of the past week amid the shifting tariff news out of the U.S. Canola up $3 to $5 now, up $3.40 in the May contract at $657.40 per ton. Chicago soy oil and soybeans are up on the day, while European rapeseed is mixed. Canada exported just over 300,000 tons of canola during the past week, up 33% from the previous week. Crop year-to-date exports at just over 7 million tons, compare with only 4 million at this time at the same point last year. Strength in the Canadian dollar is pressuring values somewhat as the currency is at its highest levels in 5 months relative to its U.S. counterpart. In the U.S., soybean, corn, and wheat futures are all higher, with the broad weakness in the U.S. dollar internationally behind some of that strength. Soybeans continuing their upward trend of the past week despite the fact China announced it's raising its tariffs on U.S. imports to 125%. May soybeans up 11 cents at $10.40 per bushel. Tightening U.S. carryout supply projections from yesterday's USDA report did remain supportive, although large South American crops are keeping a lid on the upside. The USDA announced private export sales this morning of 121,000 tons of soybeans to unknown destinations. Corn, it's trading at its highest levels in 6 weeks, finding continued strength from yesterday's tightening supply projections from the USDA. The fact Europe is pausing its own retaliatory tariff measures for the time being is also underpinning the corn market. The May contract up 4 cents at $4.87 per bushel. In the U.S., early corn seeding operations are said to be facing delays in some areas due to rainy weather. Wheat, it is higher across the board, recovering from yesterday's losses. Dryness in parts of the U.S. plains is also supportive, although reports out of Russia pointing to relatively favorable crop conditions there were bearish. Spring wheat up 9 cents in the May contract at $6.11 per bushel. Hard red winter wheat also 9 cents higher in May at $5.67 per bushel. Chicago soft wheat up 11 cents in the May contract at $5.49 per bushel. That's a look at the ICE futures and U.S. markets for Friday, April 11th. In Winnipeg, for MarketsFarm.com, I'm Phil Franz Warkentin.
Head to your local Toro dealer, Butler Farm Equipment, during the Toro Spring Sales event for incredible savings on select Toro zero-turn mowers. Get up to $500 off on select Time Cutter and Titan zero turns until April 30th, 2025. When it comes to taking care of your acreage, there's nothing like the My Ride suspension that lets you float above the bumps and rough terrain. Visit Butler Farm Equipment in Fort St. John today for the best sales, service, and expert advice around. Toro, count on it.
The opinions expressed on this show do not represent those of the station. If you've missed any of the shows, you can follow the podcast at Energeticcity.ca. Welcome to This Week in the Peace, a show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Here's your hosts, Dub Craig and Steve Berard.
Coming up a little later on, I have Zara Geelen here, a Century 21 realtor, who's going to talk a bit about the Northern BC Real Estate Board's recent report, which just came out this past week. We'll dig into the numbers in the Peace region. That coming up a little bit later on.
But first, with the threat of tariffs now constantly looming overhead and the recent closure of the Canfor sawmill still on the minds of residents, forestry obviously being a very important industry here in the Peace, we decided to chat with the Mayor of Fort St. John, Lilia Hansen, about her experience at the Council of Forest Industries conference last week, plus some other upcoming information residents will need to know. Mayor Hansen, thank you so much for your time today.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course, we're always happy to have you. So, first, for people who maybe aren't familiar with it, can you give me a quick breakdown of what the Council of Forest Industries is and why you chose to attend their event?
It's really important that we're there as elected officials. Forestry in our province and in the community of Fort St. John, it provides such dynamic, well-paying jobs, and it's helped build our province. We get together and we talk about the trends, but it also gives us an opportunity to meet with other elected officials in the province. We had different people there. We had Premier Eby, we had the Forestry Minister, Minister Ravi Parmar was there. Being able to have that conversation and explaining to them, for one, there's unintended consequences to decisions that are made, and there are people behind those stats.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Were you the only person that went from Fort St. John? I saw that Mayor Darcy Dober from Dawson Creek was also there.
We had excellent representation from the Peace Region, from the city of Fort St. John. Council sent me there. It's important that we have a presence there. We also had a delegation from Louisiana Pacific OSB.
Okay.
And I think that was great. They really had gratitude to see that people from the area were standing up to advocate for them. Because at our level, we can do things that industry can't.
For sure. Absolutely. You mentioned, obviously, one of the top priorities whenever you're able to go to something like this is making sure that people are aware of the unintended consequences of decisions and things like that. Walk me through sort of what you would say your priorities were as you went to this event.
Definitely talking about, reminding, what does the revenue from forestry provide for our quality of life?
Right.
And what does it mean to our community? Last month, I was at the BC Natural Resource Forum, and I had an opportunity to sit on a panel with 3 other mayors. And we had just finished wrapping up the community transition table with CANFOR. It's just crushing. Last December 19th, the last board went through the CANFOR mill. And that board, the staff signed, it has the signatures on it. And I was talking with the HR staff, letting them know that I was going to this conference where we're going to have easily a handful of provincial ministers there. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, Mayor Hansen, let me ask, let's see if we can send you with this 10-foot board. Well, I can't fit that in my truck. But what we did do is they took photos of all the signatures, and I got a 2x8, and it was about a 4 to 5 foot length, and we taped the names on there. So when I went up onto the stage, I couldn't bring those 221 families with me, but I could bring something to represent them. And with the ministers and their assistants and the audience, to have that conversation to say, your decisions, while they have good intentions, this is the outcome from it. And what do we do about it? When we're hearing of, whether it's a business or a person in our community and they're struggling, you stand up and you try and help them. You take action. You don't wait to go after and say, sorry. Sorry isn't going to help these families. I believe that whether it's the provincial or the federal government, we have to take action. We have to help build our businesses to help our province to grow. There are things that, investments. We need to invest in our mills, keep those open. If you want to see us grow and increase our productivity, invest in your people, invest in your businesses. In our area, we have CN rail lines that are underdeveloped. We have the wood. So one of the frustrating things that we're seeing, we're hoping to reach a target of 45 million cubic meters to harvest. We can do that. We've got the land, we've got the trees, we've got the people, but we do have other hurdles. Number one, bureaucracy. Mm-hmm. And this is coming from an elected official. So, we, everything from, and you can't just say it's stumpage rates. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So bureaucracy, the permits, we need to speed up the timing of getting those permits out the door. Industry needs certainty, regardless if it's forestry or oil and gas. And then it comes down to transportation. How can we make it more affordable for industry to get their products to market? We have a rail line, but it hasn't been upgraded between Fort St. John and Fort Nelson in numerous years. So right now, our rail line between that chunk, it is running at maybe 3/4 capacity weight, and they have to go way slower. So it's taking 4 days when it should take 1 day. And everyone's pointing the finger to go, well, is it CN Rail? Is it the province? Is it the feds? It's my understanding that if we could get some investment from whether it's the province or the federal government, then CN will also put in a contribution there because we have the wood there.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Would you say that the concerns that you expressed about, those things like investing in the area, showing the human cost of these decisions, would you say you felt that your concerns were heard, or did it kind of fall on deaf ears?
I have to say it was a night and day difference from last year at the same Kofi conference as to this year. New minister, new mandate. Definitely, I'm really hoping, positive wishes, putting out there into the universe. The province has heard from the electorate. Things need to change. While they have their goals, and I do respect them, but it also has to be balanced with keeping people working. And I've heard from multiple respected professionals, you can do both. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. We can have both, looking after our environment and have a strong economy.
For sure, absolutely. Now, about a week removed from the event, what would you say sort of your key takeaways were from the information that you got from other people?
Oh, there was some good ones that I was texting to council. You just got to love that. We should probably put away our phones during these conferences. We had a past Premier Glenn Campbell there, or sorry, Glenn Clark. We're in a country place, so I'm thinking of country music. I'll start humming later. But, he was saying, like, when you have question period has never been known as answer period.
Right.
And often when I'm asking a higher level elected official a question, I don't get an answer. I get a prepared response. Mm-hmm. So that's frustrating. And when it comes to tariffs, I think the best way you can describe tariffs is in 3 letters, WTF.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. I want to change gears for a moment and talk a little bit about something else. The city is in the process of updating its official community plan. For people who maybe haven't been keeping up with that process, can you give me a quick rundown of what that's looked like so far?
You know what? If somebody has a chance to be involved, get involved. With our OCP planning, it's an opportunity for the community to have their say. This is where we decide what we're doing in the next 20 years. It is mandated by the provincial government that we do it, but it's important to hear from our residents. Things that were important or the direction that we were given 20 years ago, it has changed. Children that, weren't involved now, they're young adults and they have a vision for what they want to see our community. So whether we're down at the trade show, come talk to us, have your say, and online as well. This is where people get to say priorities. I want to see more parks or playgrounds or this is what I want to see, on 100th Avenue. That's another project that's coming. The decisions that council moves forward and the work that we do, it is based on what we hear from our residents. I know we're all busy, but take the time to do it. It's a great investment. Pull out your phone and just put a few comments in there.
For sure. You talked a bit about the trade show. You guys are going to have a booth there this weekend. What can people, in terms of giving feedback, what can people do at the trade show? Is there like an opportunity to give written comments? Just talk to people? Tell me a bit about it.
We're going to be there for 3 days this weekend. Fort St. John loves the trade show. I really look forward to it. It's not just for the mini donuts. People come down there, and it's a great way to re-engage with your neighbors. We're going to be down there. We've got a full complement of council. We've got our senior management staff is there. We've all taken shifts. You can talk to us in person. We're going to have, a board where people can also write on. They can put their input in it. Having your voice say, that's what I love about Canada. We still have an awesome, thriving democracy. It's important to have your say. I mean, think of all the other people that don't have that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. If people maybe aren't able to attend the trade show, are there any other engagement events coming up in person where people can go to learn about this?
Most definitely. We're going to have pop-up tents, throughout summer coming up. Spring is happening out there, so summer's surely on its way. So in person, I have to say, council is very approachable. Even if you can't, see us face to face, send us a message, send us an email. Council's very responsive to emails. That's one of the best ways. And then also that way there's a written track record. We can send it off to the appropriate department and staff. As well, again, online on the website, they can do that. But definitely, we're going to be out all summer long. And this engagement, because of the importance, we we take it, steady and methodical, and we try and gather as many viewpoints as possible.
Yeah, for sure. So if people want to submit comments online, you said there's a spot on the website and there's an email. What's the best email address to go through?
Reach out to your fellow councillors. I would just say we also have an info@fortstjohn.ca.
Okay, perfect. And then there's also a link on the website. That is just about everything I wanted to go over for today. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any events coming up? Anything we already went over? The floor is yours.
Oh, we have some exciting things. When we start talking about water reservoirs, we have a new one that's going to be built this summer, and that's up on 106th Street.
Okay, awesome.
When it comes to water, it really is important. And this is such a huge project that most communities, it's going to be like a once in a lifetime, for us. For this council to see. It's an important investment that we're making. We're also looking at continued upgrades to parks. We have done a fantastic job. We've got a lot of compliments on our Kin Park and our pump track that opened up. There was a lot of excitement on that. And we're going to start working next on our Sararis Park.
Okay, awesome. Great. And the best place to keep an eye on as these developments are happening is the Fort St. John website?
Yes, and we have just made upgrades, so I invite everyone to check it out.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time today, Lilia. Really appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You as well. That was Mayor Lilia Hansen of Fort St. John. We'll be right back with Zara Geelen with the Northern BC Real Estate Board on This Week in the Piece.
Mobil One Lube Express in Fort St. John is proud to serve this amazing community and proud to support our oil and gas industries.
See Mobil One Lube Express for oil changes, transmission fluid changes, touchless car wash, and more. Mobil One Lube Express,
a proud supporter of the oil and gas industries.
For the last 18 years, First Choice Towing has been serving Fort St. John and area. They love this community and proudly sponsor the 19th annual FSJ Petroleum Association Hockey Tournament. Call First Choice Towing for in and out of town calls 24/7. RCMP, ICBC, and BCAA roadside calls, vehicle lockouts, boosts, fuel deliveries, and winch outs. First Choice Towing, big or small, they tow them all. Call 250-785-2271.
Most of us get dental checkups, eye exams, and routine physicals. Yet we haven't had our hearing checked in years. If you think you have hearing loss, early detection and treatment is key. Access Hearing Center can help. See them in Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, and at accesshearing.ca.
This July, the Energetic County Fair returns with a lineup like the North Peace has never seen before. Friday night, you'll see the award-winning country music icon Wynonna Judd.
No one else on earth could ever hurt me.
And on Saturday, you'll be singing along to the chart-topping raspy voice of Johnny Reed. Tickets are available through energeticcountyfair.ca, or you can win your way in with Wilson Concrete and Moose FM. Just visit moosefm.ca or use the Moose FM app to fill out our online form. We'll pick winners every week until May 2nd, so make sure you fill out the form every single day. It's the Energetic County Fair giveaway, brought to you by Wilson Concrete and 100.1 Moose FM.
Mark your calendars. This upcoming Work BC Fort St. John Job Fair is happening on May 1st at the Pomeroy Hotel and Conference Center. Don't miss this chance to connect with skilled professionals from the local community who are eager to meet their potential employers. Whether you're looking to fill positions or expand your professional network, this event is tailored for you. To secure your spot as an exhibitor, visit fsjjobfair.ca or call us at 250-787-7100. Join us and make the most of this unique opportunity.
Spring's in our step and on the lot at Travel and RV Grand Prairie. The Spring Show is on April 9th to 13th with show pricing and manufacturer reps on site. If it's in stock, you're guaranteed to be paying the least. Spin and win up to $1,500 off on 2025 models. Plus, you save an extra $2,024 on remaining 2024 models. Over 800 Google reviews at 4.8 stars. Home of the affordable, reusable vacation, Travel and RV. We are simply unbeatable.
Moose Country weather.
Cloudy today with a 30% chance of showers late this morning. Wind picking up to southwest 60, gusting to 80 kilometers an hour near noon. We'll get to a high of 9. Cloudy this evening with flurries again. Wind dies down a bit, a low of -1. Tomorrow, cloudy and windy, 60% chance of flurries early in the morning. We get to a high of 8 and sunny and 10 for Sunday.
You can watch this show live on Facebook. Catch the replays at Energeticcity.ca or be part of the show by texting your thoughts to the Fort City Chrysler line at 250-787-2222.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dub Craig. Well, the BC Northern Real Estate, or the Northern BC Real Estate Board, released their latest report on the real estate market here in Northern BC, including snapshots of cities like Fort St. John, for example. And to talk a bit about that, we're joined now by Zara Geelen, who is with Century 21 and is also the I'm switching the camera the wrong way here. Is also with the Real Estate Board, the local director here. Zara, welcome to This Week in the Piece.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for being here. It looks like, and this is just my general reading of it, and I know very little, compared to last year at this time, sales seem to be up in general, but on a less available kind of number of properties in Fort St. John. Tell us a bit about that and sort of other kind of things we're noticing, trends that got in the first 3 months of this year compared to last year.
Yeah, so I pulled all these stats. The stats come from our stats center that's supplied from the Real Estate Board. Yeah. We are up 31% in sales from March 2024. The average sale price for used detached homes is $452,721, which is 9% higher than March 2024. As for attached, the average sale price for used is $285,807, which is down 2.5% from March 2024. And new construction is down 50% in sales from March 2024, with an average sale price of $577,790, which is down 7% in average.
I see. Okay. So I think in general then, is it fair to say more expensive properties, like higher priced properties, are being sold, or the properties being sold for higher prices than maybe we expected even this year? Is it kind of both? Which is it?
I would say both. So our Stat Center only bases 475,000 and up, so I don't have the exact stats for you. Yeah. But in that sales bracket, the average sale price is $596,634. But I've been keeping an eye on the hot sheets, and a lot more luxury properties have been selling.
Okay. Why would that be? Is that just sort of an anomaly? Like it's, I don't know, there's richer people who are buying properties right now? Or is there something else maybe going on that could explain that?
I don't think it's richer people. I think people are just growing out of their homes. It's just that time of life. People are just changing into something new.
Okay. And I wanted to talk about this too, because I noticed on the report, Fort St. John was one of the, I think, 3 or 4 cities that have kind of specific results that saw growth, when in general, because there's more cities that saw, contraction even compared to last year, they're not seeing the growth. So I guess my question is, again, why do you think it is that Fort St. John is outperforming basically everybody else in comparison?
Interest rates, with the drop of interest rates, that helps. Also, our economy is still really strong. Yeah. A lot of the industries aren't being affected up here versus other areas.
And then we want to look forward, as we always do, because I think this time of year is fair to say, January to March, not the strongest season for selling and buying of homes. Summer, kind of spring, summer kind of is. What are we looking at for that? Is there kind of predictions you can make based upon what you've seen so far and on how those seasons are going to look?
Spring is historically always a stronger market. Same with fall. We're not really in a buyers or sellers market at the moment. We're definitely equal. So what's coming on is going off, which is driving the price points of valued properties up. It's also causing less time on the market. We're 40% down on days on market versus this time last year.
Okay, so people are scooping stuff up and making decisions quickly, eh?
Yeah.
Do you think that's because people are making offers that are so good they can't refuse, or they're getting a lot of what do you think is happening there?
Spring market always pushes people, stuff comes on that's a lot more desirable or what people are looking to purchase. But that's everybody. Everybody wants kind of almost the same thing. Mm-hmm. So when the right property comes on, multiple buyers will go for it, which then brings to a multiple offer situation, which can drive the price point to list price or higher.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And my final question for you is just in general. If someone's listening and, maybe they're thinking they're outgrowing their house, as you say, or they're looking to buy a house for the first time. Maybe they just want to sell. They're looking to downgrade. You have some general advice for people in terms of this year, as you say, it's neither a seller's nor a buyer's mark. What should people be maybe looking to do, and general advice for them?
Well, one, always reach out to your real estate professional. We are here to guide you. Yeah. We have our worth. We can help, even just having a conversation with just the thought of thinking to change. Mm-hmm. We can help guide you to, let's get you with a mortgage broker. Let's figure out where you are to move forward. What are you looking for? Yeah. And we're actually able to bring a perspective that you may not have thought of, or help get you to that goal that you're looking for.
All right. Zara, we've got just about a minute left or so here. Anything else you want to say while I still have you here, just in general even?
I feel like I've touched on everything. Again, I'm going to be very strong. We are here to help you. Yeah. So please reach out to your real estate representative. But thank you so much for having me on here this morning to share all this information.
I'm grateful that you took the time for us, Zara. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Zara Geelen with Century 21 and the BC Northern Real Estate Board. We want to thank our earlier guest, Mayor Lilia Hansen, for joining us today on This Week of the Peace, and thank you for tuning in.
You can listen to this show again by checking out the podcast at Energeticcity.ca/podcast. We'll store this and future episodes of the show there as we make them. Also, check out our other locally produced podcast, Before the Peace, as well. We're off next week for Good Friday, but we'll be back with a new episode on April 25th. That's our show. I'm Steve Berard.
And I'm Dub Craig. Be well.
Join us again next Friday morning at 10 for another edition of This Week in the Peace, your weekly talk show dedicated to the people, events, and news of BC's Peace region. Or you can listen to this podcast again at Energeticcity.ca.
Professional, reliable, outstanding. At Fluid Pro Oilfield Services, they specialize in providing top-notch oil